Imagine yourself facing an imposing fortress, towering walls and vigilant guards. You are the commander of a medieval army, and your mission is to conquer this fortification. How would you proceed? This is the central question that guided strategists throughout the Middle Ages, an era marked by epic sieges and tactical innovations that changed the course of history. Sieges were more than simple military confrontations. They were tests of endurance, ingenuity, and leadership. In a period when castles and fortresses symbolized power and territorial control, the ability to conduct a successful siege could determine the fate of entire kingdoms. But what made a siege effective? What were the challenges faced by commanders, and how did tactical and technological innovations help to overcome them? In this video, we will explore siege strategies in the Middle Ages, unlocking the secrets behind the tactics that allowed armies to conquer the impregnable. We'll dive into historical examples, analyze the technologies used, and discover how these lessons can be applied today, whether in strategy games or military studies. Whether you're a history buff or an avid gamer of titles like Total War, this video is a must-watch. Get ready to expand your knowledge and sharpen your strategic skills. Let us take a journey through the fascinating world of medieval sieges together and discover how these tactics still resonate on the modern battlefield. To understand the importance of sieges in the Middle Ages, it's essential to put the era in context. This was a period marked by political fragmentation and frequent conflicts, where feudal lords and kings fought for control of territories. Fortresses and castles were not just defensive structures. They were centers of power that controlled trade routes, natural resources, and populations. Conquering a fortress meant more than a military victory. It was an assertion of dominance and influence. Sieges became a common strategy due to the difficulty of directly confronting fortifications. High walls and deep moats made frontal attacks risky and often ineffective. Commanders, therefore, needed to develop tactics that would allow them to neutralize these defenses without suffering significant losses. The logistics of maintaining an army under siege of a fortress were complex. Food supplies, maintaining troop morale, and preventing disease were constant challenges. Medieval society also influenced the dynamics of sieges. The loyalty of vassals and the ability to mobilize resources were crucial. A feudal lord who managed to maintain the support of his vassals and allies had a better chance of success in a prolonged siege. In addition, religion played a significant role, with crusades and holy wars adding layers of complexity to conflicts. In this context, tactical and technological innovations became essential. Commanders who could adapt their strategies to the specific conditions of each siege had a significant advantage. The ability to innovate and surprise the enemy often determined the success or failure of a campaign. We will explore these challenges and innovations in detail in the following chapters. Conducting a successful siege in the Middle Ages was a monumental task, fraught with logistical and tactical challenges. The first and most obvious obstacle was the fortification itself. Castles and fortresses were designed to withstand attack, with high walls, deep moats, and watchtowers offering defenders a significant advantage. Direct assaults often resulted in heavy casualties for the attackers, necessitating more strategic approaches. Supply was another crucial challenge. Keeping a besieging army fed and healthy for long periods was a complex task. A lack of supplies could lead to starvation and desertion, weakening the army's fighting ability. Furthermore, disease could spread rapidly under siege conditions, affecting both besiegers and besiegers. The logistics of transporting supplies and maintaining secure supply lines were vital to the success of any prolonged siege. Troop morale also played a significant role. Soldiers faced with adverse conditions and the prospect of a prolonged siege could lose motivation, becoming less effective in combat. Keeping morale high required strong leadership and often the promise of rewards or plunder upon victory. The defenders, on the other hand, had their own difficulties. Resource shortages within the walls could lead to starvation and surrender. Coordinating the defense and maintaining order among the besieged were essential to resisting the siege. Effective communication and leadership within the fortress were crucial to maintaining cohesion and determination. Inaction of the defenders. In addition, weather and environmental conditions could significantly influence the outcome of a siege. Heavy rains or harsh winters could make siege operations difficult, affecting both attackers and defenders. Commanders needed to adapt their strategies to the weather conditions to maximize their chances of success. These challenges required innovative and adaptable solutions, which will be explored in the next chapter, where we will discuss the tactical innovations that emerged to overcome these obstacles. To overcome the challenges of sieges, medieval commanders developed a number of tactical innovations that proved effective in a variety of situations. One of the main strategies was the use of psychological tactics to destabilize the defenders. This could include displays of force, demonstrations of numerical superiority, or even the use of intimidation tactics, such as the display of prisoners or the threat of reprisals. Psychological warfare aimed to undermine the morale of defenders, making them more likely to make mistakes or consider surrender. In addition, diversionary maneuvers were often employed to divert the attention of defenders and exploit weaknesses in their defenses. Feigned attacks on different points of the walls could force defenders to disperse their forces, opening gaps that could be exploited by a concentrated attack. Coordinating these maneuvers required effective communication and strong leadership, ensuring that all parts of the army acted in sync. The construction of siege structures, such as towers and ramps, allowed attackers to reach the walls and engage defenders in close combat. These structures were often protected by archers and crossbowmen, who provided cover while engineers worked to build the structures. The effectiveness of these tactics depended on the speed and precision with which the structures could be erected, often under enemy fire. Another crucial tactical innovation was the use of battering rams and catapults to damage the walls and defenses of the fortress. These siege engines could inflict significant damage, creating gaps that attackers could exploit. However, their use also presented risks, as they were easy targets for defenders who might attempt to destroy or set them on fire. The use of tunnels and mines to weaken the foundations of walls was another innovative tactic. Engineers would dig tunnels beneath the walls and then fill them with flammable material, which would then be ignited to cause the structures above to collapse. This tactic required skill and technical knowledge, as well as courage, as engineers worked under constant threat of discovery and counterattack. These tactical innovations, combined with adaptation to the specific conditions of each siege, allowed medieval commanders to overcome challenges and achieve victory. In the next chapter, we will explore the technologies and equipment that made these tactics possible and effective. The tactical innovations developed during the Middle Ages were made possible by advances in siege technology and equipment. Among the most notable were siege engines, such as catapults and trebuchets, which allowed attackers to hurl heavy projectiles at fortress walls. These machines were capable of causing significant damage, weakening defenses, and opening breaches that could be exploited by assaulting forces. The accuracy and range of these machines improved over time, making them indispensable tools in any siege. Battering rams, although simpler in concept, were equally effective. These devices, usually in the form of tree trunks with reinforced tips, were used to breach gates and walls. Protected by mobile frames, the rams were pushed against defenses, applying brute force to create entry points. However, their use also required protection against counterattacks, as defenders often attempted to destroy the rams with projectiles or direct attacks. Siege towers, known as bastions, allowed attackers to reach the top of walls and engage defenders in hand-to-hand combat. These mobile structures, often equipped with drawbridges, were pushed up against the walls, providing an elevated platform for attacking soldiers. The construction and positioning of siege towers required skill and coordination, as they were vulnerable to enemy attack as they approached. In addition to siege engines, medieval engineers developed advanced mining and excavation techniques. Tunnels were dug beneath walls to weaken their foundations. Once completed, the tunnels were filled with flammable materials and set on fire, causing the structures to collapse. Above. This tactic, while dangerous, could be highly effective when executed correctly. The evolution of these technologies and equipment reflected the increasing sophistication of siege tactics. Commanders who could employ these innovations effectively had a significant advantage in their campaigns. However, the effectiveness of these technologies depended not only on their availability, but also on the skill of engineers and the ability of commanders to adapt to the specific conditions of each siege. In the next chapter, we will explore how these historical lessons can be applied to modern strategy games. The lessons learned from medieval sieges can be directly applied to modern strategy games, giving players a significant tactical advantage. Logistics, for example, is a crucial aspect that often determines the success or failure of a campaign. In games like Total War, managing resources and maintaining effective supply lines is essential to sustaining a prolonged siege. Players must focus on ensuring that their troops are well supplied and that supply routes are protected from enemy attack. Terrain selection also plays a vital role. Positioning your forces on high ground or in areas that offer natural cover can provide a significant defensive advantage. Additionally, using the environment to your advantage, such as rivers or forests, can help restrict enemy movement and channel your forces into areas where you have tactical superiority. Coordination of troops is another critical factor. In a siege, the ability to coordinate attacks from different units can tip the scales in your favor. Utilizing archer units to provide cover while your assault forces advance can maximize the effectiveness of your attacks. Additionally, maintaining clear communication between your units ensures that all parts of the army act in sync, exploiting gaps in enemy defenses. Psychological warfare can also be a powerful tool in strategy games. Displaying force and using intimidation tactics can undermine enemy morale, making them more likely to make mistakes. In some games, this can be achieved through displays of numerical superiority, or through coordinated attacks aimed at destabilizing enemy defenses. Finally, adapting to weather and environmental conditions is crucial. In games that simulate weather conditions, adapting your strategies to take advantage of rain or snowfall can provide a tactical advantage. For example, attacking during a storm can mask your movements and surprise the enemy. By applying these historical lessons to their strategy games, players can develop more sophisticated and effective approaches, increasing their chances of success in siege scenarios. In the next chapter, we will provide a final reflection on the importance of these strategies and how they continue to influence modern military tactics. As we explore siege strategies in the Middle Ages, it becomes clear that innovation and adaptation were key to military success. From the use of advanced siege engines to the application of psychological tactics, medieval commanders demonstrated a remarkable ability to overcome complex challenges. These lessons are not only relevant for history enthusiasts, but also provide valuable insights for strategy gamers and students of military tactics. The importance of logistics, coordination, and terrain selection resonates on both historical battlefields and modern strategy games. The ability to adapt to weather conditions and use the environment to your advantage can make or break a campaign. Furthermore, psychological warfare and maintaining troop morale remain crucial factors in any conflict. By applying these lessons to strategy games, players can develop more sophisticated and effective approaches, increasing their chances of victory. However, the real transformation occurs when these insights are integrated into a broader understanding of military tactics, allowing for practical application in a variety of contexts. Reflecting on the evolution of siege strategies reminds us of the importance of innovation and adaptation in any endeavor. Whether on the battlefield or in a strategy game, the ability to learn from the past and apply those lessons to the present is an invaluable skill. So by watching this video, you're not just learning about history, you're also gaining tools to improve your own strategies and tactics.